All right, guys, let's address our first topic of the evening. So, the Hot Toys Mando DX Luke Skywalker has released. We knew this was coming. We just didn't know when, but we knew it was around the corner. However, this was not, I do want to set the record straight. From what I remember, this was not on the Hot Toys Coming Soon list that they posted. That apparently doesn't mean anything because they're just going to be like, you know what? We're going to release what we want to release. And those things that were on that list, not all of them are going to release before some of the other things that were not on that list. So with that said, we got Luke Skywalker, but I don't think anyone's complaining. I think it came out pretty good. I'm going to post a poll, but before I do that, Ben, what do you think? Is this the definitive Luke Skywalker as of now? Because this is a pretty iconic moment we're looking at here.
God, I was hoping Kiko was going to go first so I don't get canceled for my take. You know,
all right, what's your take?
Let him go down for the ship first. But no, I do like this Luke, so I will start with that. The fact that everybody calls him the CGI Luke drives me a little crazy because it's literally all I can see. And let's be honest, that scene in Mandalorian when the X-Wing fighter flies into the bay and you slowly and subtly get hints of who the heck is coming through, ripping through these dark troopers, you're like, okay, by the time you realize it's Luke, it's amazing. And even once we actually saw him, I'm not kidding. I'm an emotional dude. I felt the tears in the eyes. I was like, to see Luke again, especially after what they did with the character in The Last Jedi, I was so excited to see him back to his prime, back to his badass self. The CGI wasn't perfect. But then we got the Book of Boba Fett. And the scenes with Luke and Grogu, sorry. Baby Yoda.
Close enough.
Grogu were astounding. Like, it was the best CGI, like, double, what do they call it? Deep fake,
yeah.
Deep fake, like, that I've ever seen. And that really made me, like, well up and get emotional and stuff like that. And so now all I can see with this particular figure is the CGI likeness, not necessarily the Mark Hamill likeness. Now, I do think it is one of the best Mark Hamill likenesses we have to date. I do think that if you're looking for a definitive Luke to answer your question, I actually think this is probably at least one of them. The only other Luke Skywalker I've got in my collection is the New Hope Luke, the farm boy Luke. And I don't have another Skywalker to compare him to, so when I walk past my collection, it looks just like Luke Skywalker to me. I think if I had these two beside each other, they would look vastly different in terms of, obviously, what they can do with a figure now in terms of paint apps and likeness and stuff. But I also know that Return of the Jedi, the 40th anniversary, is coming. In that film, he wears a very similar style of robes and gear. So I don't know if I would want to get this one specifically, or if I'm willing to take the risk that nothing ever comes out, or this is the very last Luke Skywalker we ever see from Hot Toys, and wait to see if we get a Return of the Jedi Luke instead. I think I'd prefer that version.
I think you are going to get that, Ben. I think that's definitely going to happen. That's a really good point.
It's a bit of a gamble, though. And I know for a lot of folks, I know Kiko included, like, people want things in their collection today. They don't want to wait for 3 years out from now. Which is a very valid point also. If the market for Hot Toys after selling was as hot as it once was, I would pick this up now to have it in my collection and flip it out for the next line if it came out and I thought it was better. But because that market for resaleability has been a little on the soft side lately, you might not get as much of your money back, especially here in Canada and paying customs and all the extra costs that are associated with it. I'm going to hold off at this point and stick with my Farm Boy Luke.
Interesting. So you're taking the long road here, the long game, because you have Return of the Jedi anniversary this year. There could easily be something from that. You know, they're always making Luke Skywalker. So, you know, I will say that if people feel maybe this is not the one for them, or maybe they just, you know, it's not in their budget right now, they got other priorities in terms of other collectibles they want, this is not the only Luke you're going to have the option to get. I wouldn't be surprised, Ben, if, like you said, they make a Book of Boba Fett Luke. I wouldn't be surprised if that's just in the works. They just haven't exactly finalized it yet. But that could very easily be something that they make too. And it comes with a Grogu, just like this one. You know, it's sure. The same thing. But I'm with you, Ben. I know what you're talking about. This head sculpt, though, I think it looks pretty good, man.
I still do think it's definitive. I will say I think it is the best Luke that we've got so far.
I think it probably is too. But Kiko, what do you think? I know you have the Luke. Did he show up today? I know he was close.
He is in my hand and sitting on this table.
Oh, did you unboxed him?
Yes, I did actually. And here's the lovely DX23 box art. Check that out.
Damn,
Very
that is
nice.
cool.
Not
That's nice.
it's like a white and black, which is really cool. I thought they were going to maybe put some green on it, but they did not. So that's very, very cool. But I'm not going to lie. I really think the key to this release is the Dark Trooper piece, because this is really, really cool, because it's battery powered. That I did wish it was USB, but check out this. You can go, let's just pop it on to where we can go fully lit up. Not bad.
That's really cool.
Or we can do a strobe effect. Not bad, right? Or like a fade effect.
That's
Not
a
bad.
DX figure right there.
Yeah.
That's a
so
DX
this
figure.
machine itself is more of a DX than sometimes any of the figures, but this is a great, great piece. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Let's talk about Luke himself.
Ooh,
so
okay. Show us, Kiko.
Yeah, here we go. Let's take the. Everyone's going to be holding it like this, you know. Oh, sorry. There you go. Everyone's going to be doing the hood. We know that. Blah 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 blah. The biggest thing I think about this that I do not like, the hood the cape feels good, but there's no wire. And that is a huge, huge miss. There's a wire in the hood, which is fine, but there's no wire in this cape. And it drapes well. But after having the Mandalorian and being able to have its, cape wired to be able to do some things, if this had a wired cape, it would be one of the absolute best. But here we go with the actual, I'm sorry, I can't ever get that right. There's the actual face sculpt. I went ahead and messed with the purrs. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I've not messed with any of the different hairs. Obviously, you can take the hairs off and swap them, and you got your purrs in the back. But it's pretty good. I don't have any true complaints about it other than the cape, and that's my only issue. So I'm very happy to have this. I think it's great. Luke is always going to be a small character, and it's funny because I can get, because my little display, which you obviously saw, I moved all those different Lukes in there. I went and put Crate Luke here. This Luke is right there, and then Bespin Luke, the battle damage is right there, and you can put Vader behind it. And it looks like you can put a fifth Luke in there if you wanted, because he's a small little character. He's a small person, which is a very interesting thing. So that's the only thing, is that I like it. I think it's a great Luke, but the cape is a little bit lacking for me. That's my only issue, is the cape. And obviously that Dark Trooper is very
dude, honestly, it kind of makes me want to get a regular Dark Trooper.
Yeah.
So I could swap on that part if I wanted to, and put some sort of diorama type display.
And the arms articulated or whatever. But man, the lights are cool, weren't they?
Yeah. So are the batteries lasting, Kiko? Are they those little tiny batteries?
I've done we'll talk about this at the end of the show. I've done a real review already and filmed some footage and all that. And I've taken a photo, and it still has been as bright as I've shown you with this. So that's, so far, they're bigger than the lightsaber ones, about twice the size of the battery. So I think we're probably going to get twice the size of an Iron Man light, or twice the length of an Iron Man light. But if it was USB, it would be an absolute gold standard. It'd be awesome. But those are my two complaints: the cape and the battery. But pretty good.
That's understandable. But overall, Kiko, you're happy with the figure. The head sculpt's pretty solid. The Dark Trooper's cool. It's a great figure.
Yeah, the head sculpt is great. It's the hair. It hugs his face a little too much, but that's the way it was in the show. So we know that. So if it's going to look like the show, let it look like the show. But I think a lot of people are just going to put the head on, the hood on, and so I don't really think it's going to matter. The hood looks great, but the cape, if it was wired, it would be a chef's kiss.
And like you said, Kiko, if you have other Lukes, you can swap the hair pieces on, I'm assuming, right?
You can, yeah. You can pop. I think Farm Boy Luke's got a different head shape, but you can definitely put the Return of the Jedi ones, the swoop hair, the Empire Strikes Back hair. All those are the same. But I mean, look what all you come with that. What you get with that, you get the backdrop. I mean, it's a fantastic release, and all the DXs are pretty darn good. So yeah, and I even got that really nice special edition hologram, guys. So really excited about that.
Yeah, nice. That's an important accessory right there. It's going to stay right in the box.
The little blue one.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I didn't even take it out.
Yeah.
Do you have any concerns at all if you're going to pose the figure with the hood up of like black transference onto the head sculpt at all? I know we've seen that with.
I don't think this is. I think this is black fabric. I don't think it's dyed at all.
Okay.
Well, I mean, anything that's. You know what I mean? It's. I don't think it was dyed to be black. It was a black specific fabric. It doesn't feel like, like how Jedi robes kind of feel like there's stuff on it. This is a totally different feel to it, which is why I said it felt like a premium cape. It doesn't have that typical Jedi robe feel to it. It's made of something different. It just does not have the wire. If it had the wire,
that would be a huge win.
Man, it would be so good.
Yeah. That makes sense, dude. But I really think it's a really dope figure. I'm gonna end the poll real quick and see what the results are. So it was 66% yes and 33% no for this being the definitive Luke Skywalker. So 2-1 said this is the definitive Luke Skywalker. I will say though, this was a limited sample, 36 votes. That said, that's pretty dope. We got a super chat for Kiko here. So Kiko, Joey wants to know, will the backdrop fit in a DTOF? Have you tried that yet?
I have not, but all backdrops do. Every backdrop I've ever had, and you can see that Luke is short, and that thing is only just a hair taller than him. That would fit in no problem. I know the Ahsoka one does fit in the DTOF, and this is the same size as that. So I just haven't put it actually in there.
Right.
But yes.
Yeah, and we got some good questions, like, maybe you can modify the cape with a wire. Maybe I'm not a big mod guy. I don't think Kiko is either. So
as we've talked about this week, I don't have many talents when it comes to that.
But if you are talented with that, we did fix the shower curtain though, Kiko. So we got to give ourselves
that is
some
true.
credit.
That was going to be the litmus test of whether the week was going to be successful or not, was how that shower curtain being put back up actually went. So great job, Will.
That's true.
You guys do have some stories. You got walnuts. You got random pictures not weird, together. Yeah. You got shower curtains.
Well, right when I got there, Ben, Kiko was like, I tried to set up the shower for you and the shower curtain collapsed. So we need to fix it. And I was like, all right. And then he pretty much figured it out and I just held it. So, but I was a good support system. So
who ended up being taller, by the way?
I feel like Kiko's slightly taller. I don't know. It's really close though. Like it depends on the shoes. And he also has hair. Yep. I don't have hair, so that's like a little slight edge that he has. So.
Depends on how I'm quaffing it that day.
Yeah, exactly. It's slight, but that's a really good question, Ben. Thank you, Joey, by the way, for the super chat. And guys, thank you for your thoughts.